So yeah, my name is John Shier. I'm a field CISO at Sophos. I've been with the company now just a little over 18 years. And I've done a bunch of diverse roles throughout my career at Sophos, but the last half of this, this 18 years has been spent in this type of role, which is working closely with our researchers, our threat analysts, the people on the AI team, our incident responders, trying to get a real sense for what are the threats, how are they manifesting themselves, what tools are the bad guys using, what tactics are they using, and then taking that information and then bringing it out to the public. So doing things like this with the media, talking to our customers, our partners, and just advising people on how to stay safer out there.
I mean, the title itself feels CISO. One feels that you're really in the practical aspects of the CISO role.
Well, that's part of it, right? So we work in the CISO office at Sophos, and we get an insight into what it takes to protect a cybersecurity company, because we're going through the same things that all the companies out here are going through, trying to protect themselves from bad guys.
Yeah.
But we've got to do it because we're also trying to protect you.
Correct. Fantastic. So looking at GITEX this year, I mean, every year you need to be in pulse with technology cycles. You need to be in pulse with what the end customer is asking. I think AI is dominating today. But what's happening at your booth?
So I think the first big set of news that we have is just the new data center that we're opening in the UAE. So this is really key for our customers and our partners in the region. What it's going to do is obviously give them lower latency access to a lot of our products, but it's also going to help with things like governance and regulation. Right now, with having data sovereignty, having a data center here, sectors like the finance sector, the healthcare sector, critical infrastructure, they need that kind of presence here, and that's really going to enable not only our partners to sell our services, but our customers to be confident that when they trust in us to keep their data safe, it's going to be kept here in the UAE.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, Middle East, because it has a large number of sensitive organizations, the oil and gas, the energy, a lot of the governments over here. Now, the supply chain of a long list of ecosystems engage with sensitive customers like this. Do you have an insight of what is happening over here, as they call the supply chain vulnerabilities and so on?
What we're actually seeing out there is, like, if you look at the global trends, they really get mirrored locally. So as we're seeing these things happening out in the wild, so Collins Aerospace was a big one in the news where it grounded a lot of flights in Europe, and then after that Jaguar Land Rover went through something, right? And you can see in Jaguar Land Rover, the attack on them actually rippled through their supply chain, affecting companies, 3, 4, 5 down the line, to the point where the government had to step in with a loan to help prop these businesses up so that they wouldn't go out of business. Translate that locally here, if such an event were to happen to a big supplier, a big critical infrastructure manufacturer or something like that here, you'd see the same kind of things. And the way that these things manifest themselves also get mirrored locally. So we're seeing criminals go after, you mentioned vulnerability, so they're looking for opportunistic targets, unpatched systems that are exposed to the outside, and they're looking for identity, right? They're looking for credentials. They steal passwords, and then if you don't have multi-factor authentication, they log into your system. So it's really important that companies understand the risks that their organizations have, and then mitigate those risks.
Fantastic. So a key aspect over here, which is being used by threat adversaries and threat actors, is the leverage of AI, right? So obviously, from your point of view, you need to counteract them, you need to build in resilience in your products, you need to find ways of doing it. What is happening over here in terms of your email monitoring systems and other things? How are you actually making sure that the AI leverage doesn't go out of control? Go ahead.
Well, so AI is one of those things, it's a dual use technology, right? So the bad guys can use it, the good guys can use it for different purposes, obviously. One is to attack and one is to defend. Right now, I think we have a bit of an edge as defenders. We've been building these systems for a long time. We've been training these models for a long time. They're expensive to train, and a lot of compute involved, right? So we have a bit of an edge. But the attackers, it is an arms race. They are moving quickly. They're trying to subvert our systems, specifically as it relates to email, as you're talking about here. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that we can apply AI. So when it comes to things like payloads, malicious payloads, right? We've had models in our protection stack for a while now, for 10 years, that have been using AI, deep learning, to detect these things. Then you've got things like natural language processing, which looks at the email language itself, the body of the email, tries to understand the intent, because something like a business email, compromise email, or a phishing email has a call to action, right? So we can use that to figure out what's happening in the email. Then we can do things like QR code scanning, because the bad guys are trying to subvert some of that scanning by embedding QR codes. We can also do things that are called multimodal scanning with AI, which is it's combining things like text and audio and video and images and all those things to stitch them together and get a fuller picture of what people are doing. Go down the line and we start talking now about phishing training. So not only do we have the technology to protect, but we have technology that helps arm and prepare your users to be able to, as best they can, detect and know what to do when they encounter a phishing email. And finally, last line of defense is our managed detection and response service. If you don't have the people that are capable of responding right away to these emails that are coming in, then we've got people that can do it for you.
Fantastic. I like the part which you mentioned about LLMs being able to scan the email to figure out the intent, because I think that's the most intelligent part of the whole solution, and it's great.
And at the end of the day, with AI, so we talked about the bad guys using it. The emails now are pretty much flawless, right? There's no grammar mistakes, there's no spelling mistakes, the branding's correct, so you need a little bit of help sometimes.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, let's go to the last question, which is essentially CISOs. So initially, we had the multi-layer approach. You build a fortress, try to make the outside layer the most resilient. Then it changed, increased the number of layers. Now it's moving to a different model that instead of being reactive, be resilient. What are your thoughts over there for the CISO?
Yeah, I think that, well, you talked about the layers and you talked about the outside. Well, there's no outside anymore, right? Where everything is outside, everything is inside. So as far as CISOs are concerned with this resiliency model, it's about being proactive. Right? If you can assess your organization and understand where some of your biggest risks come from, then you can be more proactive about implementing controls.
Right.
If you're proactive about implementing controls, you're now starting to be more preventive. You're starting to reduce potentially the amount of alerts because stuff is getting stopped, and only the things that are of utmost importance need to be looked at. Combine that with things like AI, and what you're doing is you're giving the humans a hand. Because before, when you're just reacting, the humans were taking the brunt of that. And we see defender fatigue all the time. We see that the defenders are having trouble keeping up. Now we're giving them the hand. We're stopping things as much as we can. We're giving them the hand with things like AI. And at the end of the day, that just makes everybody safer.
Fantastic. So how does Sophos bring in resilience? Just to close the whole
thing.
So
we're bringing you the tools, right? The tools and the services to allow you to do that. So when I talked about the risk management framework of understanding your risks, you can map the services and the tools that we have to stop some of these attacks from happening, prevent them from happening in the first place. And then so that's the front end. And then the back end, a lot of stuff in the middle, but the back end is if you do have an incident, if you do need help, you can call us and we can come in and clean it up for you.
Fantastic. So John, thank you very much.